the whole time he's like holding his own, doing this thing that people in movies do when they play games
Oh,
they
so
don't get into.
it's actually a fever. It could be like a fever dream. So he's actually mimicking everything in
Yeah.
the
He's
movie.
like moving the controller as if it has motion controls or something. Like, this is an interesting story. It has to deal with video games and movies. Put those together, what do you get? Video game movies. Um, this one caught me off guard, and I want to talk about it. Gran Turismo.
Yes, Gran Turismo.
That is that's a video game franchise.
That sure is. Every 10 years you get a new game.
Yeah. Used to be sooner, but yeah, they stretch that time out. It's a video game.
Yeah.
Gran Turismo was the first more modern, if you will, for those of you that don't know, racing game simulator. When I say that, what is that? For those of you that don't play video games, it is a video game that is like steeped in racing. It's no story, no nothing like that. None of the Gran Turismos, as far as I know, have had a story. It's just all about getting a car and winning races. Very, very technical and adjusting cambers and exhaust and turbochargers and superchargers and blow, all that stuff. It's about adding parts to your car. It's a simulation. It's a simulation game. It has been that since the start. It still is till this day. For Gran Turismo 1 and 2, they were just extremely popular. Around 3, they started, they're still popular. It's still popular to this day, but they've had some hiccups. And also they've received some competition from their competition that's, they've been going back and forth with. But it's still a popular franchise. Their last entry had some issues. Still does, from my understanding, and not as, kind of like in the Halo, like with Halo, the game so much isn't bad. It's the way it's handled and some of the things within the game that are just bad decisions being made. Well, in the ever-growing world of video game movies, the last thing I ever thought to hear that we would be getting a video game movie of would be Gran Turismo, because how do you make that a game about a simulation? We're getting it, Gran Turismo. The movie is officially in the works and is going to be directed by Neil Blomkamp, the director of District 9 and Elysium and that bad movie last year or 2 years ago, Demonic, the pandemic movie. Well, I guess that would have been last year. It is going to be starring David Harbour, Archie Madekwe, and Orlando Bloom as of now. With a script by Jason Hall, who wrote American Sniper, and Zach Balin, who wrote King Richard, Oscar winner this past year. And based on a true story, the project is described as the ultimate wish fulfillment tale of a teenage Gran Turismo player whose gaming skills won him a series of Nissan competitions to become an actual professional race car driver. Madekwe, Archie Madekwe, is playing the teen. Harbour is on board as the retired driver who teaches him to drive, and Bloom will play a hungry marketing exec who is selling the sport of motor racing and just may believe it's art too. Shooting begins next week in Europe. So
this isn't like Need for Speed where it's like a racing movie. This is about a kid who played too much Gran Turismo and decided he could become a race car driver. Is that what we're leaning towards?
That from what they're saying, yes, that's what it appears to be. It is a true story about a kid who played the video game, and based on his playing of a video game with a controller, they said, you know what, you can drive a car. And that's the story from what we from this snippet that I have here. I mean, that's all I could find on it. So yeah, wish fulfillment. What do you think, Nick? And what's your relationship with Gran Turismo?
I'm not a race car fan. To be really honest, it's just not my genre. I have no problems with it. Like, I do play like the Horizon or the Forza Horizon games, the ones that are more Sims.
Yeah.
Then
less Sim, they're more arcade.
Yeah, more arcade than Sims, and I think those are fun. I don't play them for very long, but I do play them. But I hate to say it, but like it could be an interesting movie. Like I was thinking that they were going full tilt, bringing what's his face from Breaking Bad into this like world where Michael Keaton's like the main host, like it's like gamer or some shit. But this sounds like, it could be like a cool kid film, like Rookie of the Year style or something like that, where it could just be like a cool idea presented on the screen. They don't need to call it fucking Gran Turismo. That's where I get the hang up. It could just be about a kid who got good at playing a video game, like most kids seem to want to do these days because that's the world that we live in, and somehow took his talents into driving. Because I'm gonna be straight with you. I have a friend who has an F1 racing wheel, like an F1 racing kit. You know what this is? Like it's Fanatical or something like that. Fanatics.
Yeah.
And it's fucking lifelike. It is scary how lifelike it is. It feels real. It drives real. And outside of being in an actual car and being in a real life scenario, it plays like a real driving game. And if this kid had that kind of setup or he has something close to it, it's not like if he's having a controller and all of a sudden he gets behind the wheel of like a Dodge Charger or whatever the car is in NASCAR. It's not that type of thing. But if he has like a true setup and he just goes, let me try and drive it, and it plays just like how he drives in a video game, it could be a little fantastical and I could have a lot of fun with it. It doesn't mean it's going to be good because Neil Blomkamp has proven that he could put people in like that rap group from South America or South Africa or whatever and make that stupid Chappie movie and make it work. Last movie he made that was good was District 9 or whatever. And I don't know. I mean, we'll see. Like I said, I'll wait for the trailer, but I'm not hating on this like I was thinking about it when we first started talking about it. But David Harbour's in it. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and Orlando Bloom. And this kid.
Is Orlando Bloom is he gonna slide down an elephant?
Is he gonna walk on floating bricks and slide down an elephant's trunk? I doubt it. Well, I played the original Gran Turismo and Gran Turismo 2. I am a car guy. I'm not as much as I used to be. I really like cars. I used to work on cars, like not like professionally, but like I enjoy cars and I enjoy souping up cars and stuff like that. And I enjoy those kind of games. Like you said, Gran Turismo, I kind of fell out of that around 3, and I became more of a Forza player, which is the same type of game.
I honestly think Forza's done it better, but I heard this last Gran Turismo is really good. So,
well, I in my opinion, Forza is a better game, but I mean, I'm not shitting on Gran Turismo. I have not played them. I heard the last one's had some issues with, once again, the way it's handled, not the actual game itself. But I don't think that this movie is the Gran Turismo movie. And I think that they're calling it that, using that branding just for that. Branding. Yeah. So that people know, I think that they should call it something else, because this doesn't sound like a Gran Turismo movie. This seems like, this is a weird take. Because anybody who knows Gran Turismo is like, what? Why are we, it'd be like making the Forza movie. Or, the Need for Speed movie that they made a few years ago, which actually was better than I expected it to be. It was a fun movie. On the second time,
I'm glad you liked it.
Well, I didn't like it the first time, but I got a review of it. Check that out. I didn't like it the first time, but then upon second viewing, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm down with this. I know what I'm getting now. But, it doesn't sound like it's going that route to where it's taking something that has nothing to do with it and just throwing a story into it and calling it that. I mean, they kind of are, but it's not going to be... It is more of a... It says it's a true story. I have not looked into this. I don't know. I guess there was a kid who... And you're probably right. He probably had some like insane setup with a Fanatic wheel. And I mean, I've got like shifters and stuff like that. He had all that, and maybe that. I would love it if he was just sitting there with like a PlayStation 2 controller, or PlayStation 1 controller that doesn't even have analog, and like playing the game with like a D-pad. And just I want the movie to do that, because it's a movie version.
They put a controller in the car, and that's just how he controls it. Yeah.
Oh my god. No, but I want to see him like in his room playing it, like playing, because I wonder if it's actually going to be the game Gran Turismo, or that movie version of games they show. And he's like playing with the D-pad, and the whole time he's like holding his own, doing this thing that people in movies do when they play games.
Oh, so it's actually a fever. It could be like a fever dream. So he's actually mimicking everything in the movie.
He's like moving the controller as if it has motion controls or something. Like, yeah, that's what we need. That's what we'll probably get in the movie. But anyway, this was a weird. I don't know. It might be good. I don't know, but it just seems like a weird fit. I mean, I think what's weird about it, not so much the movie, the story itself, I'm like, okay, I could see that, especially if it's based on a true story. But it's odd that they're branding it as Gran Turismo the movie. That's just an odd take. But hey, that's just me. Maybe I'm wrong. Gran Turismo fans out there, what do you think? Are you like super hyped for this? Do you think this is just a perfect fit? I don't know. I'm not saying Gran Turismo the game, if that's the game that this real life kid played and it got him into that, they shouldn't feature it in the movie, but calling it Gran Turismo just seems odd. I don't know. I feel like there's going to be scenes in the movie where he's racing a real car and it's going to like mix in game footage like of him playing the game and racing the real car, and this is what did it for him. And please don't do that. Please don't. Please God don't. But Gran Turismo the movie, it's coming. We don't know when, but they are starting to film next week in Europe. So we're getting it somewhere, somehow. From Neil Blomkamp, of all people, with David Harbour and some other guy, and Orlando Bloom. So let us know in the comments below what you think of that. And if you think that your sim racing video game skills are good enough for a movie and should make you be a pro race car driver. They're probably not. But let us know if you think they are.